Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday the 10th of April 2017. Now, what's a name, or what's in a name? I think they say in that Shakespeare play, Romeo and Juliet, what's in a name? Think about the word name. Nay, me. Name. Nay, me. Know, me. Same with nom in French. Non, moi. Know, me. What does that say about the word name and its meaning? It's something that's not you. It's not me. After this weekend, when I woke up thinking about this, I realised certain things, and I realised how important your name is and how much you lose in power unless you deal with the situation with your name in a proper way. So, for example, if somebody said to me now, "What's your name?" I'd have to say, my name is my name. It is not me. N-A-Y, nay, me. No, me. It has none of my essence in it. That's my name. Then they might say, well, who are you then? And I would say, I am. I am a man. That's who I am. I am a man. I am. I exist. I am what is. I am this. Think of the book that I've written, God Makes His Move. I often talk about what is and what is not. And of course, what is the important thing. It's what lives. The great what is, the ultimate what is God Himself. You are what is. And it's very important you recognise that. You are of God through Christ. You are what is. You are real. Born of woman. Part of the creation. The creation of God. Created by God. What is. It's extremely important you recognise that. The powers that be know how important it is as well. Now, what if someone continued saying, "What's your name? Come on, tell me what's your name." I might say, "Look, I tell you what, I've heard this question many times in my life. I know what you're trying to do. Let me try and help you." I'd say to him, whilst my name is not me and is apart from me, my name is called David. So my name is called David. They might say, "So you are David?" No, I didn't say that. My name is called David. Do you see? My name, which is here, is called David. Another word which is over there. So the word David that's put on the name is a couple of steps away. The name's a step away. Nothing to do with me. I am. I am a man. This is important for you to know. Important for you to realise. You might think, what are you talking about? My name is called this. Don't worry, there's authority on this, and I think it's extremely important we know this authority because it is the truth. They might continue to say, "David Kameh is your name." No, like I said, my name is not me. My name is not me. My name is called David. Kameh is the surname, and it's a government designation, so and so on and so on, and you could talk like this for a very long time. And I'll tell you what, if you hold that stance, you're going to protect yourself from all sorts of intrusions from the great big internationalist corporate monstrosity that's being inflicted upon us to take our liberties, to take our freedoms by the use of intermediate or third party interloper agencies and such like. If you say, for example, my name is John Smith, and that's what it's written down as. If you say, "I am John Smith," who are you? I am John Smith. That is a lie. You're not telling the truth. You are not John Smith. John Smith, first of all, has got a surname to it. You are not your name. Your name is called John. The Smith is a surname. Okay? That is not you. It's essential you realise this. And if you say, "Yes, I am John Smith," First of all, of course, it's a lie. And by lying, of course, you're separating yourself from God, because you are separating yourself from what is, because you're taking on as part of your being, in fact, something that is not what is not. So immediately there's a wedge driven between you and what is, totally what is, and your own what is, because you're absorbing something that isn't. And by doing that, what you're doing is making joinder with the what is not, with the divide from God, with the separation from God. Joinder, you're going under, in a sort of contract, under the authority of the prince of this world. Or I should say, really, the prince of this aeon, because that dark prince only has authority for a particular period of time. But whatever, it's not a pleasant thing to be under. And the law of God applies to that which divides us from God, as well as everybody else. And it knows it. He knows it. Now, you might be thinking, well, what is all this about? You know, this, my name is called. Well, look, the Bible is an extremely important authority for us all. It is, you can find the Bible in all the public buildings in common law countries. It's in the courts. It's what they use as their authority. Our law in common law nations is God's law implemented by man's common sense and reason. If you can refer to the Bible, you're really on to something new, powerful and strong. You've got some good authority there. Now, consider naming in the Bible, in the KJV, for example. The first name that we come across, you will probably say, well, it's Adam. Let's look up Adam. Genesis 2:19 is when that name is, well, that word Adam is first mentioned. Up until then, he is referred to as the man. Genesis 2:19. So up until then, for example, it says, and the Lord God commanded the man, etc. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man. And then in 19 it says, and out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the air and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam. So suddenly Adam is mentioned. Then there's Eve, of course. Up until she is known as Eve, she is referred to as the woman. That's her essence. She is the woman. She's the woman created by God. Direct link, you see? Via the rib. But anyway, she's woman up until Genesis 3:20, when it says, and Adam called his wife's name Eve. Notice he called his wife's name Eve. He called his wife's name there Eve. It's not her because she's over there. It's her name, Eve. He didn't call her Eve. And so the name is separate. It's a not me. She is a woman created by God. Now, if you think it's just a turn of phrase that you can find in the Old Testament, consider these. In Matthew 1:21, it says, thou shalt call his name Jesus. You will call his name Jesus. You won't call him Jesus, you'll call his name Jesus. Jesus is a word over there. His name is here. You put the name on that, the word on the name, the word Jesus on the name. Steps away. Again, Matthew 1:23, it says, call his name Emmanuel. Matthew 1:25, and he called his name Jesus. Called his name Jesus. Luke 1:31, thou shalt call his name Jesus. The name in the Bible is so important. Look at the way it's used in the New Testament. The only time the word Jesus in dialogue is used, in direct connection with Jesus, in a dialogue with Jesus, is once. It's an attempt at dialogue. Of course, Jesus doesn't enter into the dialogue, and he certainly doesn't acknowledge how he is being addressed. There's only one time in the New Testament, in the Bible, when there is a dialogue with Jesus. Okay, let's just consider the whole thing again. The New Testament, yes, Jesus' word is used all the time. That they write, Jesus did this, Jesus did that. That's what the word they use to identify who recognise who, to link who they're talking about to what's going on. Of course, they're talking about the Son of God. But in dialogue, there is only one time when there is somebody, or I should say something, trying to call him Jesus. Never do the apostles, I can't find anywhere do not the apostles, the disciples call him Jesus. They don't say, Jesus, can you come over here? That's wonderful. Jesus, that's great. You did the miracle. They call him Lord. They call him Rabbi. They call him Master or whatever. Never, ever call him Jesus. It's because the name and the use of the name is so important. It has so much to it. Right. The only one who tries to get a conversation going by talking to the Son of God as Jesus is in Matthew 8:27, I think it is. It's actually Matthew 8:28-29. It says, and when he had come out the other side, etc., to meet him, so two men under the power of demons came out of the tombs to meet him, so exceedingly violent that nobody was able to pass by that way. And then they called out, saying, what have we to do with you, Jesus, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Now a good distance off from them a herd of pigs was feeding, and the demons pleaded with him, saying, if you drive us out, allow us to go off into the herd of pigs. So he said to them, go. But he doesn't acknowledge it when he says, Jesus, Son of God. What have we to do with you, Jesus, Son of God? He doesn't answer that question. He doesn't acknowledge that they're trying to make him accept the word or the name Jesus. You, Jesus. He doesn't accept that. He doesn't say, yes, that's me. He doesn't answer that question. He just says, go. And it's fitting that demons should do this, because they're from the cut off, the what is not. They would like him to be within their realm, of course. You know, those in misery need company and woe. Okay, so notice no conversation, no one calling him Jesus in the whole thing, in a conversation, in a dialogue. Yeah. Now, it's a very interesting situation in and it's quite fitting also for this time of year, isn't it? Because this is the time of year when we celebrate Christ being raised from the dead. And it's a very important passage, very much worth a bit of reading and studying. And it's John 18. John 18, really, I suppose you could say between 1 and 11. In fact, the whole thing when he's talking to Pilate and so on. It's very interesting stuff. But I want you to focus on John 18, 4 or 3 to 4. No, I think they say 3 to 8. Now it says this. I'll tell you what it says. So Judas, taking along the cohort and officers from, this is from the Aeonian Books version. So Judas, taking along the cohort and officers from the senior priests and Pharisees, came there with torches and lamps and weapons. Then Jesus, knowing all the things which were coming against him, stepped forward and said to them, whom are you looking for? They answered him, Jesus the Nazarene. Jesus said to them, I am. And Judas, who betrayed him, was also standing with them. Then, as soon as he had said to them, I am, they went over backwards and fell to the ground. So he questioned them again, whom are you looking for? And they said, Jesus the Nazarene. Jesus answered, I have told you that I am. If therefore you are looking for me, let these go their way. Okay, now Jesus says I am. That's why you can recognize what it says here. And they went over backwards and fell to the ground as soon as he said to them I am. Well, of course he is. Of course they fell to the ground. Because when he's saying I am, he's saying I am what is. And if you think about what is at that particular moment, you're talking about the Son of God, which is well, it's just incredible. They would fall to the ground. If he just said I am he, or I am who you're looking for, they wouldn't. Because that would take him down to their level. Because what he would be saying, if he said, yes, I'm Jesus Nazarene, he would be saying he is a name. Or he would be saying he is what is called a name. Jesus the Nazarene. He would be saying he is what he is not. And there would be no falling over there, would there? It would be just, okay, come on, you're under our authority. But he said, I am. And that's his emphasis of not only of who he is as the Son of God, who he is, but also his direct connection with God, that presence there and then. It's going to knock them over. So he certainly said, I am. And it's significant. Because that isn't a name, it's not named, it's just I am. Now, if you look at the King James Version, which is you find it in all the courts in the common law countries, it says, I am he, and the he is in italics, suggesting, of course, that it's been put in. They're covering their tracks, though. They've put it in, but put it in italics, because when it's in italics, it means it's not in the original text. If you look at the New World Translation, it does it in. It says, I am he, the same as the KJV. The KJV says, I am he in italics. The New World Testament says, I am he, and the he is in square brackets, meaning it's not there as well. But the thing is, people will read and have read this text from the King James Version. It's in the root of all the common law countries and so on. They've heard it read to them numbered thousands and thousands and thousands of times. They've heard it said, I am he. They've therefore heard in their brain Jesus admitting that he is Jesus the Nazarene. He is the word that calls him, that his name is called. 2 steps away from who he is. 1 step away, in fact, from what is not. My name is called Jesus. The name is the Nomi, and the Nomi is called Jesus. But he doesn't say that. Listen, they answered him. He says, who are you looking for? They answered him, Jesus the Nazarene. Jesus said to them, I am. He's not saying, I am Jesus the Nazarene. He's just saying, I am. And that's why they fell over. And he asked them again, Jesus the Nazarene, I am. It didn't say I am that. It's essential that you know this. The KJV and, of course, that New World Testament thing has get it in people's heads, I am he, I am he. So that people are trained into accepting that Christ actually admitted he was these words. Therefore cutting himself off from God. Therefore making them feel as though it's okay to say I am John Smith or whatever. Therefore putting them under the authority of what is cut off, making joinder with the what is not. Okay, do you see that? And then, of course, what happened is they took it. He had never ever admitted to this jurisdiction. He never said, yes, I am Jesus the Nazarene. By saying that, he would admit to their jurisdiction. He'd cut himself off from what is. He'd go under what is not, and then, suffer the consequences, of course. But the thing is, he never said it. He just said, I am. And he wasn't lying. He wasn't playing games. I am. Okay? So, this is fine training for the world, duping them into accepting the jurisdiction of what is not. Fortunately, the Aeonian books gives the correct translation. But the thing is, it's clear that Jesus is innocent. He didn't accept their jurisdiction, and yet he was murdered. And those responsible, therefore, have committed a terrible crime. They have murdered an innocent man who did not admit to their jurisdiction. Not only that, he said who he was. He is, I am. And of course, he is the Son of God. So they killed the Son of God after he told them who he was. I am. And you might say, well, what if it's the Son of God or not? It could have been anybody. Anyone who says I am in this way, of course, is accepting only God as his authority through Christ now. So terrible crime was committed. They are culpable. And the prince of the world, as he's known in the KJV, but of course the prince of this aeon, the dark prince of the aeon, is now, according to law, the ultimate law, conquered. This is one of the reasons, of course, why Jesus had to go through with this. It's why and how he's ultimately going to completely conquer death and Satan, as it says. Okay, now I'd like you to consider all of that in relation to the law and, it quotes, law and justice systems that we have, these disgraceful law and justice systems that we've got in our countries right now. In Britain, in England, it's an absolute disgrace, the justice system. It's a complete, I'm not going to go into it. But I'd like you to consider what I've just been saying with regards to the name, what a name is, the effect of taking on this so-called name and being a know-me, the jurisdiction of that, the joinder of that. Think about that in relation to the systems now. Remember, you are what is. You are God's. You are not a name. You are not what is not. Think of this in relation to your taxes, your council tax, the courts, the police, those who send you these letters. Those who tell you there's a judgment against Mr. this, Mr. that. It's against a name, not the man. And think about it in court. If you go into court, they say, are you X, Y, or Z? No, I'm not. You're not? No. Well, who are you? Well, who are you? Are you trying to be funny? No, I'm not trying to be funny. Are you trying to be funny? Who are you? I am. What do you mean I am? I am. Then you might say, well, I'm trying to help you here. You're trying to go through getting me to admit that I'm a name, but I'm not a name. Or not what a name is called. I'm not a know-me. My name is called David. And if you want to look into how this can be, go to your King James Bible, which is over there, or any Bible where it says, for example, and his name was called, and his name was called, and he called her, and he called her name Eve, etc. So you got the structure. Okay? And you got these people who say, what's your name? Name? What are you talking about? Name, what's that mean? Name me, know me? What do you want to say, know me? It's almost like gnome, isn't it? Gnomes are meant to be they're little entities, aren't they? Little know-me's. No wonder it's an insult. No wonder you're being insulted when you're being called names. Because you're being called no-means. You're being called less than what you are. And that's the last thing you want to do. You have to be what you are. That is the most important thing. And in fact, if you just walk around anywhere in any Western or any country now, you will see people who are lost. They do not know who they are. And one of the reasons is because they think they're a name. And they've joined her with the what is not. Do you see how important it is to have this distinction between you, the man or woman, your name, or the name, and what your name is called, which is over there? Do you see the motive behind slipping in he in the King James Version? After I am he, so that you think that he is saying he is Jesus of Nazareth, a name. Do you see? And do you see how important it is for these people, or this process that we're going through of destruction of mankind, to eliminate any distinguished barriers, any structure? You know, you've got the feminism destroying the difference between men and women. You've got the separation between name and the man. Merging. So the man becomes the name and goes under the false jurisdiction. You see? So also, I just think it's very important for the way you deal with all these so-called authorities now, that you know exactly who you are, you know what your name is, and you know what your name is called, and you know that structure, and you know that that is the truth. Okay, with that in mind, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got, by the way, I just want to say, we've got the legal fiction. That's important. You are not a legal fiction either. The same principle. You are not your name. But this is more fundamental, isn't it? Anyway, you think about it and have a very good day, whatever it is you're doing. I'll speak to you soon.